Yo, we just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the four ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your host, your boy, George Mackay. 10 years in the can. And I couldn't think of nobody better to have on the show for my final go-round than one of my first guests ever. The amazing, the wonderful, the incredibly talented Alexxia Nicole.
Hi, thank you. I honestly can't believe I was one of your first guests. I forget about that.
Yeah, you were actually here in the basement, in the studio,
Yeah.
in that raggedy, old, horrible chair that I had. Since then, I've upped my chair game, if you will. So
it was a comfy chair. It was a good chair.
It was a good chair. I guess it's one of those things. It's like a car, right? Doesn't matter how it looks, as long as it does the job. And that chair did do the job.
Yeah. No, it was a great chair.
Perfect. So obviously, one of the things I want to talk about this last time, you're wearing the shirt. So let's get into it. New Wave Academy, one of the newest, actually, if not the newest, wrestling training facility here in the great province of Ontario in the GTA. I know you were helping out at Battle Arts Academy for a while, and then most of the coaches moved over to New Wave. I guess talk to me about all that. How did that happen? How did New Wave come to be, I guess you'd say?
Yeah, so we Battle Arts, there's so many things going on at Battle Arts, and sometimes wrestling kind of got lost in the shuffle, especially when we were there near the end. They've got jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, all these things happening at the same time. And boxing was like kind of all day, every day. So we would kind of get shoved to the side. And I get it, like there's so many other classes going on. You kind of got to fit everybody in, but like there's, tons of people in and out. There's music blasting. It's really hard to focus on the wrestling. We have such limited ring time because the boxers are using it as well, which again, understandable, but we also want the same amount of time, which unfortunately we just couldn't get. So we were talking, pretty much all the coaches that had moved over to New Wave, so myself, whereas Jody, Saber, and Mark were kind of like talking about, do we open up a school ourselves and kind of just have our own thing that doesn't have, well, it's nice to have this huge facility. It can take away from what we want to do, which is the wrestling. So we were kind of talking about it, and then it just kind of fell into place. We found an opportunity to partner with New Wave from out in Cardiff, which, myself, whereas I think Jody and Wheeler have also gone there and visited and trained as well. And they were super down to partner with us and have the first international New Wave Academy open. We found a beautiful location that was super excited to have us, and also like it's another like martial arts gym, but they've actually blocked off a full section. Like they built a wall so that we have our own area with it's our ring. It's just our stuff. Like it's only us allowed in there. And so it's on the one hand, we have all those things with the gym, the other martial arts, all the facilities, but it's also its own separate space, which is really nice.
I love that. And I think you guys broke like a early record right off the hop when all the new trainees and everything signed up. You guys had an overwhelming amount of people sign up, no?
Yeah, day one, class one was like 25 people. And they were all not like, I guess technically all new signups, but I would say at least 15 to 16 didn't, like totally new students.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so, I mean, you guys all, as the coaches, you guys all bring a little something different to the table. Your own skill sets, your own maneuvers, but you all have your own different progressions and levels that you coach on. So can you, I guess, touch on that, on who coaches what? Like if I'm a beginner, if it's me, I'm coming in and I'm saying, listen, I love pro wrestling. I want to train. Who does the beginner class? Who does the intermediates? Who does all that?
It's a great way to see if I remember who does what. So Mark Wheeler teaches on Mondays. He does have beginners.
Okay.
I think, so Shane Saber's on Tuesdays. He is, I want to say, mixed and advanced. Freedom Wallace is on Wednesdays and is also mixed, but he does, he's very good at like technical wrestling and like grappling, and he really focuses on that. He does all like actual professional wrestling as well, but his focus is mostly on that, which is something that like the rest of us don't really focus on, which is good. And then myself and Fuerza are on Thursdays, and we teach, so our class is kind of split in half. So we are, the first half of class is beginner, the second half is advanced, but we try to mesh everything together.
Nice. I love that. So that is just a plethora of ability. Like that's basically Monday to Thursday, you can progress through your wrestling career and your wrestling training as you see fit, which is awesome. What about Jody? Where's
So
Jody?
Jody is kind of like our headmaster. Jody is admin. If you're emailing New Wave, you're talking to Jody. Jody handles everything for us so that we don't have to. She does all the planning, all the scheduling. We're having like a women's class this Friday. She set that up. So she is the one who takes care of all the administrative work. And we also like when we have like our meetings and stuff, she kind of is like, okay, this is what we want to do. Let's figure out a plan to do it.
I love that. I love it. So everybody's got a place and everybody's got a certain set of responsibilities or nuances that they bring, which is awesome. So, I mean, New Wave, like you said, you're the first international school. Is it a lot of pressure being the first international school? Like you guys have no time to try to work this out. You have to show and prove, or New Wave's going to be like, I don't know if we want to continue doing this, right?
It's a bit of pressure. So myself and Huerza, I think the week before we opened, we had actually gone to Cardiff just to wrestle and train, and like we're friends with like Boar, Mark Andrews, Danny Jones, Brendan White, like all those guys we're friends with. So it was nice. We wanted to go see them, wrestle with them, train with them. They were so excited about this. They were so happy about it. So like there was a bit of pressure because like we're watching how they train and teach, and we're like, oh my God, are we going to live up to this? Like this is what we want to bring back home. But they were so excited that it kind of took the pressure off of it. It's like, okay, like as long as we follow what they do, we cannot mess this up.
I love that. I love that. So will there be like a coach sharing program? Will like Fuerza and Alexxia get to go back over to Cardiff to train for a couple of weeks or teach some classes, and will Boar or Mark Andrews, will they be coming over here? Is that how that's going to work?
But yeah, so we're trying to figure out kind of timing because we do want that. We are definitely discussing, especially pretty soon if we can, for one of the guys from the Wales to come over and teach here for like maybe like a week or two. But what we offer to our students, which I think is nice, is that if they train at New Wave, they can go to Cardiff. They can go. There's 3 locations in the UK. There's Cardiff, Newport, and Midlands. They can go there and train for free. If they can find a place to stay, obviously the trainers there will kind of help them out. They can train for free. If anyone from those locations in the UK want to come train here, they have all access as well.
Nice. And if they're green lit when they go over to like freshen up, they can also maybe get some bookings while they're out there.
Yeah. I mean, New Wave runs their own shows. Mark Andrew, who teaches at New Wave Cardiff, he runs Attack. I think Boar runs Chaos as well. Like they all run promotions as well. So if our students want to go there, they have like a plethora of promotions to work for.
I love that. I love that. That's a really great landscape of stuff that is being presented, and you guys, this partnership that having being the first international school, the sharing of coaches, the sharing of knowledge, and the fact that the students get to learn a little bit of everything, that's kind of an extra feather in the cap. Because I'm thinking from perspective, if I'm not 18 anymore. I once was, very long time ago. But if I was, 16, 17, 18, and I wanted to get into this business as a professional wrestler, that's something that would entice me, because there's an ability to get internationally trained and to also go abroad early on, even in your training, not so much in your wrestling career, because everybody goes abroad in their career, or we hope that everybody would travel. But the fact to go there and train and make those connections early on in your career, that's a huge win for a lot of talent that are coming up, especially in Canada, where it's so hard for us to really get out, at least outside of North America anyways. Internationally, Canada is not, you cannot miss Canada internationally.
No, yeah, it's hard to America. Like, and that's something I didn't do for a long time. Like I waited, I think a little under 10, like maybe 9-10 years to travel, and I regret it. So we're trying to like push our kids, like, please go, spread your wings, fly, do all the things across the pond.
Why? Well, that's a great question to ask. Why did you wait so long? What was it? Was it intimidation?
Yeah. I probably had a really good chance to try and get to Japan right when I finished university. So like, or even when I finished high school. So like 18 and then like 21-ish, however old you are after 4 years of undergrad. When I was 18, the idea of traveling just like by myself, daunting. I'm a very tiny person. I very easily, distracted, can be kidnapped. I am not good to be traveling by myself. I am very stealable. So the idea at that time of traveling by myself, horrifying. 21, I was a little bit more interested, but I had so many other things going on, like personal wise, that I didn't know if it was a good time to go. And then I've just ever since gotten so busy here that I just haven't had the chance to go there specifically. But I did finally, like after watching Vertigo go so many times to the UK, I'm like, I got to do this. I cannot sit back and watch you go anymore.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And you know, it's funny when as soon as you said I'm a small person, I easily stealable. All I thought about was, somebody at the airport being like, look at her. She's so tiny. She can fit right in my pockets.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, you know what? They always say never, never say never, or it's never too late. And obviously you're able to go over there when the time was right for you and where you weren't so unstealable. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with you. I've seen you throw men triple your size around the ring. I think if somebody were to try to steal you, it would be a tough go. That's me personally. But hey, you know what? I'm glad that you went. I'm glad you were able to spread your wings. And what was the coolest thing about, I mean, we talked about the tourism and stuff like that, but I don't think the last time that we spoke, we actually talked about the wrestling. What's the major differences in terms of, I guess, not so much style because everyone knows the difference between style, but what's the difference when you're in a locker room over there compared to a locker room over here?
Um, so I specifically, because the last time I went, I was pretty much just with the like new wave attack crew. It feels like a family. And it's not that it doesn't always feel that way here, but like sometimes you're in locker room and like there's cliques, people are in different rooms. You don't really see them throughout the whole show. Um, for the last time I went in end of May or end of June, May, June, whatever, I don't know. Time is an illusion. The last time I went, the three shows that we did, it just felt like a family. Everybody was there. Everybody hung out together while the show was going on. Everybody watched the show together while the show was going on. And again, it's not that that doesn't happen here, but like it's not a constant through line here. Whereas there, I did a new wave show, I did an attack show, and I did a fair show with a bunch of the guys from the area, and just throughout like all three shows, that's what it felt like. It felt like a family hanging out.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Wrestling and family goes hand in hand. And sometimes some families agree and some families don't. Like, listen, I go hang out with my family and sometimes there's cousins I don't talk to forever. And they'll literally be hanging out in another room and I'll just be like, oh yeah, look at you guys. You're over there. You're doing your thing. So even in family, there are cliques,
Yeah.
100%. But now this is an interesting question because a lot of your students, as they're progressing and stuff like that, they may not be greenlit, but they may want to perform. They may get that itch, that buzz. They want to perform. You may want to put them in front of a crowd. Will New Wave be running student shows?
Yes, but I don't know when.
Okay.
Yes, we definitely will. It's definitely like it's one of the things we want to get started sooner. It's more of we want the first show to be special. So again, trying to get some of the guys, not to spoil anything, trying to get some of the guys from Cardiff to come over. Not that we guaranteed will. We just, we want to make a really good first impression. We don't want it to feel like a student show. We want it to feel like a show that some students are on, and the students that deserve to be on and should get that spot to see if they can really be in front of a crowd should be on. We don't want to just kind of pack all the students on there and say, okay, go, figure it out. We want to treat it like it's a real show, so they know what it's like to be on a real show rather than like a school play. I guess that's kind of what I compare like a student show to a regular show. Is one is let's show my family and friends what I've learned how to do. The other is let's show people I have never met before what I can do. And we want number two more than anything because that's what you're wrestling in front of most of the time. Your friends and family aren't always going to be there to cheer you on. You need to see if you can sink or swim in a crowd when nobody knows who you are.
Right. Yeah. No. And that is fair. And I often have to wonder. This has been interesting because I've been around my fair share of locker rooms and I've had my fair share of conversations and I've talked to people and I've always been curious about being greenlit. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot. Some people say they're greenlit. Some people say they're not. Some people are greenlit, but then half the time you don't know who greenlit who and how and where and why. So how does one, because this is an interesting question. Now that you guys have the school, it's an interesting opportunity to ask this question. And that's what's great about these conversations is the last go around, we're getting able to ask still like 6 conversations. We're asking things I've never asked for, which is awesome. How does one get greenlit?
I wish I could say there's like a set answer. There's no set like list of things that you need to do to be greenlit, but like you essentially need to be able to prove to your coaches. So I guess like at New Wave, it would be like, the 6 of us that you can put together a match, you can perform that match well, and, not just get through it, but like excel in it. You need to be able to being in shape is one of those things. Do you look like a wrestler? No? Well, then you're not ready yet. Character wise, give or take, like, would we prefer if you have some kind of, set character to go to? Yes, but that can take some time to develop. Can take years, but like most importantly is can you show in training before we even put you on a show that you have the drive, you want to do what it takes, you can put together matches, get through those matches, perform well in those matches, and not, need so much guidance throughout them. Like, you can take control.
Okay, I like that. I like that. And already, you guys have had some guest coaches come in. Like, I know as we're recording this, Ortiz was there, I believe, yesterday, and he's still there today.
So Ortiz was there last week. He was there on Wednesday and Thursday. LJ Cleary, we had 2 days ago. I think he just flew back home. And then we're having this Friday with the women's class. Taylor Wilde is also coming.
Look at that. Look at that. God, ladies and gentlemen, the list of wrestling minds that are coming in is no joke. These are, TV ready, well-trained veteran performers, and the knowledge that these people have is insurmountable. And then, of course, like you said, the Cardiff people will be coming over. But then, of course, as you tend to have your own shows, which you don't know when those are going to happen, but when you do, there's a potential of being like, hey, we run, New Wave Toronto. Do you want to come out for one of our shows? And also, would you like to stay an extra few days and teach a few of our classes? So this is enticing. This is enticing for a wrestler if they want to be able to pass on their knowledge, but also really enticing for a student. That's what's intriguing about this. There's many of an idea of an individual that you guys could have. Like, even myself, I've been to a few of those seminars, not so much to listen and learn, but just to watch and understand. Or not to learn, I shouldn't say, because God knows I couldn't do a backflip or a front roll or any of those things if life depended on it. But Joe, you mentioned something interesting earlier. Do you look like a wrestler? Because nowadays there are so many different body types in pro wrestling. Anyone can really look like a wrestler. Like, I mean, I'm not to say I get compared to being Kevin James, but my body type is more like Kevin Owens. Now, I can't do what Kevin Owens does in the ring unless I have a remote control in front of me and I'm watching on a PlayStation. But if I had the ability to do something like that, that's the type of wrestler I would want to be. That's the type of body type I would want to be. So not only, I guess my question is, there's different ways someone can look like a wrestler, is there not?
There are different ways, but not everyone needs to be a bodybuilder, but you need to be able to support your own weight, I guess is the best way to describe it. Like, if you can't pick yourself up, like your own body weight, no, you shouldn't expect anybody else to be able to. If you're not capable of running the ropes for a minute, then maybe you do need to work on your cardio. There are not that you need to look a specific way. Again, yeah, you're right. There are different types of you could totally different ways to look like a wrestler. But you need to, does the way that you look, is that due to your, the way that you look, or is that your athletic ability? And do you need to work on that? Mm-hmm. Do you need to work on your strength? Do you need to work on your endurance? Do you need to work on your cardio? Because literally anyone can do this. Anybody can be a wrestler. The moves are not the hard part. But if you can't do the moves, then you really do need to work on something.
I like that. Okay, that's a great answer. That's a fair answer, and I like that. I mean, once again, I know my limits, and I stay within them. My limits is telling the stories, not acting out the stories, because God knows I couldn't do. And you know what? I have had the privilege of being able to narrate some of the coolest stories of yours, in my honest opinion. I've been able to tell a couple of your matches. One of my favorite matches that I was able to call and able to tell is you versus Frankie the Beast. That was a great match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And you really are, in my eyes, the ultimate underdog, because a lot of promotions throw you in these situations where it's like, I don't know how someone who could fit in my pocket is going to hang, but they do. Is it do you ever just bat your eyes anymore when somebody's like, hey, listen, I'm thinking about this for an idea, or I want to put you with this wrestler. And you're like, double my size and height, double my size and weight. Sure, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Do you ever sit there and go, guys, can I not for once just have somebody who's 5 feet, 112 pounds? Can I not just one time?
Occasionally. I am so used to it. I am so used to being the very small girl taking on the giant man. There are times where I'm just like, I don't want to do it anymore. Please give me someone my size. But I do find it a fun story to tell. And I've also gotten so used to it that's very easy for me now, and easy and enjoyable. It's not easy where it's I'm sick of it, but I enjoy doing it. It's very fun for me. There are times where I would love to have just a regular match where I'm not being thrown across the ring. That would be great. But I can't say I don't like it, because I do.
Absolutely. No, I know you do. And I got to ask this, as being a teacher now and passing on your knowledge to the next crop of students, When you see a student achieve an attainable goal for them in the class, like if it's a student, okay, by the end of this class, I'm going to learn how to tuck my chin and take that bump for the first time. And they do. And they get that smile of accomplishment on their face. As a teacher, are you like, yeah, I remember when I achieved those level up moments in my training?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to help people get to their goals. Like it's, and especially watching them like week after week, because I was at Battle Arts for so long helping out, just watching the progression from quite a few guys from right when they started or just after they started to now. It feels really good to know that I've played a part in that and that I'm continuing to help out. It feels nice. I get why people want to be teachers now.
Right? Being teachers is probably the most rewarding thing. And God knows I was the student that always had the authority problem. Alexxia, you get me in a high school anywhere, I would challenge every teacher and I would tell me to do something and I would do the complete opposite. Sit down. No, I'll stand. Stop talking. I'll talk louder. That's the type of person I was as a student. But as a father now and someone who's passing on knowledge to both of my daughters, they are so much more respectful to teachers than I ever was. Thank God, because I don't know if I could deal with the phone calls my parents received. But being a student in any aspect, and even as a teacher, would you not find that you're still learning? As you're teaching and passing on knowledge, you're still learning. And sometimes you're even learning from students. You're learning from students that may have exceptionalities or students that may not be able to move a certain way, that they found a workaround and the workaround is still a safe way to get the job done. Is that not true?
Students teach me things all the time. Whether it's things that like, yeah, like I'm teaching in a way that they can't get it. So I'm like learning to teach it a different way, or whether it's just totally showing me something that I didn't know what I was doing, or they found another way to do it. I'm like, yeah, that looks great. Let's do that. Show me how to do it. But like all the time they're teaching me how to do stuff too. So it's a two-way street.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know what, when you look at the next crop, because God knows wrestling, you really do have a lifespan. And wrestling, it comes and it goes, and there's an amount of time when you can do it on a regular basis. And there are some people that have exceeded that timeline. People like The Undertaker, people like, I mean, maybe not Ric Flair now, but Ric Flair like 15 years ago could still go. Ric Flair now, I don't know what's going on with Ric Flair now. But in terms of knowing your limits and knowing when it's time for your body to go, as a teacher, is that something that you implore on your students from early on? Like, guys, know your wheelhouse, know your limits. Don't try to do things that are probably not going to, as they progress, I mean, probably not going to look good for them, or something that a body type doesn't necessarily do at that size.
Like we do. I mean, I do specifically like try to encourage them trying everything to a certain extent. Like if I think you're going to break your neck, I'll say, please don't do that. But like try everything. We have like big mats just to like try like more dangerous things to see if they can do it. But like I think most of them, and we pretty much, if they're not aware, we get them aware pretty quickly that this stuff hurts. Wrestling is painful. You're going to get hurt at some point, even if it's not now or, in a couple of years, maybe it'll be in 10 years. You will eventually get injured. It happens to everybody. You just kind of have to figure out what works best for you. Not everyone can do, a 450. And you can try it. I have no problem with you trying it. But if you can't do it and you go and you do it and you hurt yourself, that's on you.
Again, a statement that I can completely and utterly get behind. Is there something that, I guess maybe I've asked this question. Oh, I sound so cliche. Is there something in your training that you didn't really get that somehow you're I guess I have to ask this just because we're on the training level. Is there something that you took a while to grasp as a trainee that now when you're training, it's easier to grasp because you're seeing it from the other side, if that question makes sense?
Oh, it makes sense, but I have to think back so far.
You sound like me now when I have to think back to what life was like when I was 18. Yeah.
It's just because I started training at 15 and I am definitely not 15 anymore. It's hard because I got the moves pretty quickly, at least the moves that like I was capable of doing pretty quickly. Like slams, I never got the hang of, but there was nobody I could pick up. So I kind of just set that to the side until there was somebody that I could. I would say like timing and cadence. There's a certain timing to wrestling and wrestling matches that when I started training, I was rushing through things and I couldn't figure out what it was until I'd wrestled for a long time and like kind of found what it was. And now watching and seeing, it becomes obvious in how to teach that now. And like how, yes, you do need to slow down. Like slow down is the most common thing you'll ever hear from anyone, from any wrestling coach. It's like, yeah, it looks great, but you got to slow down. And at the time I was like, I feel like I'm going so slow. watching the students now, like, oh my God, I get it. I get what slow down means. I get the cadence. I get the pace now.
I love it. I love it. So now, even at this juncture in your career, okay, I see pace. I see. But do you ever sit
Yeah.
there and go, oh, fuck, my coach was right. That fucker. He or she knew what they were talking about.
Oh, my coaches always knew what they were talking about. I never questioned them.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So I guess my next question is we're halfway done in this year. As you know, Straight Talk's winding down. So not to toot my own horn, but I'm interested. Out of all the conversations you and I have had, out of all the moments where I've embarrassed you by putting you over so much and you blush almost ridiculously because I think you are that fucking fantastic. Have you ever watched any of my other conversations, and what are some of the things you've enjoyed about the 10 years of Straight Talk, if you've caught an episode or two? If you haven't, no shame. I get it. I'm not an easy person to listen to. I get it.
No, I've definitely listened to a few. I've listened to, I think the last one I listened to that wasn't me was probably Forza. I like to listen to my friends' interviews, see what they have to say. I like that, like, I guess in general, like, not that I don't like talking about, like, how I started and why I started, but I like that the conversation goes away from that. I like that we talk about different things because I feel like I say so often, like, yeah, I started watching wrestling. That's why I wanted to do it. I started training at this age. This was my first match so many times. And again, it's not a bad thing. I totally get it. People have never heard that story before. But I like that this conversation has developed, and everyone's conversations develop outside of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's true. I look back at all of our conversations. I could put us together. It would be about 10 hours worth of footage. I could put us together back to back to back. You could see you getting, cooler, us talking about cooler moments of your career, and you could see my hairline slowly creep back all the way to here. If I were to do one of those videos, they do like those 24-hour videos, but they speed it all up. If I were to do like if I were to do like a 10 years of George, just the hairline would be crazy. It was about that much. I want to say it was legitimately that much.
Really?
Yeah,
I don't remember it being.
You don't remember it being here? It was here one time. I swear to God.
Honestly, I didn't think it had receded at all. I thought it was where it was when we first started talking.
And this is why I love you. This is why you're one of my favorite guests, because you've made me feel so good about my hairline. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. So the year's half over, and all the things are still happening. Bookings are still happening. This is going to air sometimes probably late July, early August. Is there any bookings that you're going to have in and around the time that you're looking forward to, that when this airs, it could be like, hey, look at these guys. They're on point with these things.
So no, I do have bookings around that time. Nothing like particular big match wise. But August 16th is C4 is fighting back. So it's their annual cancer benefit show. I love doing Fighting Back. It's one of my favorite shows of the year. They've raised over $600,000 or something like that from all the shows, and like every cent raised goes towards cancer research. And it's such a good atmosphere. I really enjoy being there. So yeah, August 16th, Ottawa, C4 is Fighting Back for, I guess, what year are we in? It's their 17th year. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but it's been a lot of years. They've raised a lot of money. It's a really good show. I highly recommend, if you can go.
I haven't been to a C4 show in all of my time in wrestling. I think it's time I get my ass out there as fast as possible.
Yeah, it's the summer. It's a beautiful time to visit Ottawa. Would recommend.
Okay. You know what you're doing? You're selling me. You're selling me on the experience that is Ottawa. And a lot of things that sometimes when I drive past Ottawa, like I've driven past it, and I tend to keep going because I'm like, oh, this is where our government practices. Fuck these guys. I hate them all. But there's more to Ottawa than just our government. So we're excited about that. What about movie wise? I know you're a movie buff, and I know you still haven't fulfilled the promise of Die Hard. That's fine. I'm going to let it go. I've understood how busy you are. You're busy. And just know that if somebody says, what do you think about Die Hard? You could say, well, you know what? George Mackay highly recommends Die Hard. I've never seen it, but I know that he delivers on what he says. So Die Hard is a solid flick. But is there anything this year that's coming out that you're intrigued to see?
Superman. I think that comes out in is the end of this month? I don't know when it comes out.
I feel like it's coming out very soon. Yeah,
it's coming out very soon, and I'm very excited about it. Fantastic Four is also coming out, which I'm really excited about.
Yep.
I can't think of any other movies off the top of my head.
Pedro Pascal in any aspect is just glorious.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, those are the two I'm really excited for.
Nice, nice. I myself, as you know, I'm a big horror movie guy, so I'm really excited for the fourth installment of the Conjuring series that comes out in
Okay.
that comes out in early September. So I'm very excited for that, and I'm also excited for I'm a TV guy. Stranger Things comes out on my birthday, so November
Oh.
26th. Everyone around the world, it's this guy's birthday. No one's gonna care about that because it's gonna be Stranger Things Day, but hey, it's my birthday. It's my birthday. And what's the other one? Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Again, I'm a horror movie
Oh,
guy.
that's coming out this year. Okay,
Yeah, that's
cool.
coming out in December of this year, so we'll be able to go back into Freddy Fozzie Bear's Pizzeria and get all spookified. It's going to be amazing.
I just played the first game yesterday. Yeah, I can't wait.
Oh my gosh, guys! Breaking news: Alexxia Cole is not playing a Pokemon game, guys, or Dreamlight
Yeah.
Valley. The last time we spoke, she was playing Dreamlight Valley.
I mean, I still am, but I played Five Nights at Freddy's yesterday. It was fun.
Nice. Okay, so I got to ask you this question because my daughter, much like you, she's played the same kind of games that you have, and Cassie tells me that Dreamlight Valley is very similar to Animal Crossing. You rescue
Yes.
people, you bring them to your village. Like my youngest daughter is very happy. She hasn't finished the game since, but she's very happy with who she has. She's got Alice, she's got Moana, she's got Ursula for some reason. I'm like, why would you bring Ursula to your? She's Dad. Ursula's cool. She's not cool. She's not cool at all. But whatever, it's fine. That's your journey. You think Ursula's cool. I think you got a lot of problems. I mean, she's dangerous. She's a psychotic person, but whatever. That's your journey. Yeah, and she also has Merlin. She's never watched Sword in the Stone, but she's very excited about having Merlin. And I'm not sure.
Merlin comes with the Valley. Merlin is your first guy.
Oh, okay. So
So
maybe
that's
that's why
yeah.
she's like, oh, look at that. It's my first guy. So
Yeah.
Merlin's nothing fancy. Everybody gets Merlin as well.
Everyone's got Merlin. Yeah.
Everybody's got Merlin. Damn it. I'm going to have to tell her that, break her heart, but I'll save it. I'll save it for a moment. Yeah, I'll save it for a moment where we're disagreeing. And she's like, I don't want to go to bed. Yeah, well, everybody gets Merlin. Everybody gets him. That'll be how I do that. Yes, but Pedro Pascal, like we were talking about earlier, everything that man does, except for The Last of Us, but it wasn't his fault. The writing in the second season was bullshit, but everything else was perfect. He can go from being in the Star Wars universe to being Nicolas Cage's best friend in some B horror flick to being like just the most badass motherfucker in The Last of Us season 1. And he could just do, I don't know what it is about Pedro Pascal. He is like the everyman's everyman. It's weird.
He's a good actor. He's really good at his job.
He is. And he also has one killer mustache. The mustache on that man is top tier. I can never grow a mustache like Pedro Pascal's.
No, he's one of a kind. He is very, very good actor. I think I saw him in Game of Thrones. I didn't know he was in it until I'd watched Game of Thrones. Like, oh my God, it's Pedro. And I loved his character. And then watching him die, I was heartbroken. Could not watch anymore after that. I needed a break.
Yeah, it was the same thing when Joel kicks the bucket in season 2 of Last of Us. I'm like, I know what's happening. I know what's gonna happen, but when it happens, it's fucking not right. It's not right.
My mom was heartbroken. My mom did not handle it well. She didn't know, poor thing.
Oh, sorry, Mom.
I didn't tell her.
Oh, you didn't. You left her. You left her to the wolves. Oh,
yeah.
Oh God. You know what? That's actually a great question. In all the movies or something that you've watched or all the series and stuff like that, when a character's died and it may be unexpected, like for me, the one that gets me to this day, Sons of Anarchy, Opie. When Opie goes at Sons of Anarchy, I fucking lose it. I lose it every time, and I still know what's gonna happen, and I lose it. What has there ever been a death on TV or in a movie that's when it happened, you're like, oh, gut punch to the soul?
So he doesn't die, but in Lord of the Rings, King Theoden, when he he looks a little bit like my dad. So when he's like, I can't remember if he gets stabbed or something, but he doesn't die. But something happens to him where like he could die, and it gets to me just because I'm like, oh my God, he looks like an old version of my dad. Here's the thing, I've watched the movie. I know he's fine. I know nothing's going to happen. But it still hurts me just because he looks a little bit like my dad.
I love it. I love it. Guys, that's the length of our conversations now. We've talked so much about training. We've talked about matches. We've talked about progression in career paths. We've talked about, her Ninja Turtle collection. We've talked about how she'll never watch Die Hard, and I'm okay with it now. I've accepted it, guys. And we've also talked about, deaths in a fictional TV show that still get us to this day. I love it. My final question, and this is a question that I think is synonymous with our interview of the whole projection of your career throughout all these 10 years that I've been doing this. And guys, if you go back to the archives, you can watch interview number 1, which was episode like 50. And we're at episode 4. By the time this airs, we'll be in the 430s. And by the time I wrap up the end of this year, I'll probably be close to the 450s. So over 400 episodes and conversations. And Alexxia Cole was in the early 50s. So that's incredible. But when you look at your career through everything from being a student to now being a performer to now being a teacher, and still being a performer now because you're teaching as well. What is the one part of your career that you look back at with the most fondness? Is it before being a teacher, while you were learning, or currently while being a teacher?
I think it's now. It's definitely now. I like these, like, I'm very happy where I am at in my wrestling career. I am enjoying the shows that I'm doing, the positions that I have, the matches that I'm being offered and given. And it is a lot more fun to also teach on top of that. It's a lot of fun to kind of have somewhere to go every week, help out, hang out with the students as well. Like, it's just such a great group of guys and girls. Right now is probably like the highlight of my entire career.
I love that. And without further ado, for the last time, ladies and gentlemen, George Rakai and Alexxia Nicole wrapping it up on Straight Talk Wrestling. And before I let you go, obviously all the socials will be on the links below. If you don't know her socials by now, I'm not going to tell you. Go through all the other interviews. She was listed all the socials numerous times, but also please check out New Wave Academy. If you're looking for a place to train, looking for a place to broaden your skill set, looking for a place to just be in a very welcoming and inclusive environment, and also in a place where one of your coaches can easily be put into your pocket, the New Wave is a place for you. Alexxia, I want to thank you for all the opportunities in times you've given Straight Talk Wrestling. I want to thank you for all the conversations that we have. And most importantly, I want to thank you for the fact that every time I see you at a show, I get the Alexxia Nicole hug and smile, and we talk about the most random shit, which is awesome. And it's none of it's wrestling related. The last time we spoke, we talked about, God, what was it? The Rocky Horror Picture Musical or something? What was that thing? No, it was the Evil Dead musical.
No, Evil Dead the musical. Yeah.
Evil Dead the musical. Guys, we talked about Evil Dead the musical, okay? This is how far our friendship and relationship has grown. But Alexxia, you have been one of the sweetest people to Straight Talk Wrestling, from my daughter, the mini host, and from myself. Thank you for everything you've done for our show.
No, honestly, like, thank you for having me all those times. These talks are always my favorite. I always look forward to them. So thank you so much for always having me on.
I appreciate that. I'm trying not to get teared up, guys. The girl dad part of me is getting teared up, especially when she mentioned her dad and the guy that looks like her dad. I wonder if my daughter's like, oh, he looks like an older version of my dad. Actually, my kid, because she's such a snarky little pain in the butt, she'd be like, oh, he looks like a younger version of my dad. Yep. Yeah, she would say that. She would totally say that. Guys, that's it for this one. Peace, love, and wrestling. See you next time.
Yo. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side.